name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilor Elliott.
Here.
Mayor Martin.
Here.
Councilor Armand Mercia. Councilor Rita Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Milanazzo.
Here.
Councilor Ramirez.
Here.
Councilor Broderick.
Here.
Councilor Caulfield.
Here.
Councilor Donahue.
Here.
8 present, 1 absent.
Okay, before we begin the formal agenda, there are two proclamations I would like to present. One in honor of National Medical Laboratory Week, originated in 1975 and continues annually so that the American Society for Clinical Laboratory Science can educate the public about the field. And whereas clinical laboratories play a critical role in more than 80% of medical decision-making, patients depend upon medical tests to accurately diagnose their conditions, and whereas 12,000 Massachusetts clinical labs are facing an increasing shortage of qualified medical laboratory professionals. 10 to 13,000 graduate each year in the field, but only half of those, that's only half needed to meet the needs in the coming years. So therefore, I, William Martin, proclaim the week of April 22nd, 28, 2006 is National Medical Laboratory Week, and urge all citizens to join in the celebration. And here to accept the proclamation from the University of Massachusetts Lowell is Donna Rogers. Donna.
Good evening. My name is Donna Rogers, and I represent the Department of Clinical Laboratory and Nutritional Sciences at the University of Massachusetts Lowell. On behalf of the students, alumni, faculty, staff, and administration at the university, I would like to thank the mayor and the city council members for having me here this evening. National Medical Laboratory Week is an opportunity to honor the hundreds of thousands of medical laboratory professionals in this country. The theme, Quality Care from Quality Professionals, is a very appropriate one for our profession because we are the professionals, helping to make the diagnosis and guiding the cure of patients. Clinical laboratory scientists work with literally hundreds to thousands of patient specimens every day, so their work has a wide-reaching effect in the practice of medicine. In fact, laboratory tests are responsible for aiding the physician with 75 to 80% of patient diagnoses in this country. I think that it is fair to say that one of the reasons that medicine in America is as good as it is today is because medical laboratory professionals are outstanding scientists assisting the physician with their diagnosis, prognosis, and treatment monitoring of patients. The medical laboratory is facing a shortage. Currently, there is an average vacancy rate of approximately 10%. This vacancy rate is expected to continue and increase due to the fact that retirements will be increasing during the next 5 to 10 years and beyond. So it is very important that we continue to graduate well-educated laboratory professionals to take these jobs. Graduates can obtain employment in hospital labs, medical reference labs, physician office labs, toxicology labs, forensic labs, veterinary facilities, research labs, public health labs, and also employment in the biotech, biomedical device, and pharmaceutical industries. So, a degree in medical technology, clinical lab sciences, can truly provide a lifetime of career opportunities. I would like to recognize and publicly thank all of our clinical affiliates, in particular, Saints Memorial Medical Center, Lowell General Hospital, and Leahy Clinic, who have been steadfast supporters of our program for decades and provided internships in all departments of the clinical laboratory for all of our students. I invite the public to find out more about this area of medicine by talking to laboratory personnel in their local hospitals or getting in touch with us at the university through our website at www.uml.edu, through email, or by phone at 978-934-4425. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Donna. We wish you luck in your recruiting. We have a second proclamation concerning Earth Week. I know John Gear from Keep Lowell Beautiful was here last week, so I won't belabor the point, but next week is going to be Earth Week. Some of the events include this Saturday, rain barrels are available from 12 to 4 p.m. at the National Park Maintenance Yard, an Earth Day celebration on Sunday from 12 to 4, also at the National Park Maintenance Yard. We have Earth Day celebrations. It's next, not this Saturday, but Saturday, April 28th, on the canals and Riverwalk cleanup, and also the Earth Fest Saturday, April 28th from 12 to 3, and DPW Hazardous Waste Day and the citywide cleanup with Keep Lowell Beautiful on May 5th. So all of those events will be advertised through various means throughout the city, and so we proclaim next week as Earth Week in honor of the many activities taking place that week. Let me see. Before we begin the public hearings, I want to first apologize for the late start on the meeting this evening. We delayed it a half an hour because the Lieutenant Governor wanted to come to the city and visit the flooded areas, primarily in Pawtucketville. He couldn't make it up here until about 5:30, 6 o'clock, so we had to arrange that tour. I wanted to bring, and I know most all the councilors were able to attend at least the meeting here at City Hall, if not the tour over in Pawtucketville, or both, and that's the reason for the late start of the meeting. I also did want to also recognize the city manager to bring us up to date on the current status of events. But I should just, I would like to say first, we had unanticipated rise in the level of the Merrimack River overnight last night. It was much less than forecasted, but the city employees, the city emergency response team, once again, put on a magnificent effort. And the manager will get into the details, but I think a great many of the citizens are grateful for the city's response during this storm. It's unfortunate that we've had such a severe event 2 years in a row after nearly 50 or 60 years where we'd seen the Merrimack River at that height. So the manager will bring us up to date on where things stand, but I think we are in much better position than we were at this point in the storm last year. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think you've described the situation very well. We were somewhat caught by surprise with the level of flooding that we received. Certainly, when we left yesterday, we didn't anticipate that there would be the increase in the elevation of the river overnight. It spiked in the early morning hours substantially, bringing it up to just over 58 feet at elevation, which is roughly the same level it was last year. It is, in fact, the 5th worst flood level that we've had in the city, in the city's history. So it's a very serious and severe situation. I am very pleased that, generally speaking, we're handling it very well, particularly in the area of the Rosemont Place that experienced such dramatic and terrible flooding last year, where the water was literally in people's first floors. The city took a number of steps over the course of the last several months, but particularly in the last day, that have really alleviated the problem. One of the more substantial items that we undertook, or actions that we took, was the installation of that valve that I know you've all been briefed on, that prevented the river from backing up through our drainage system into that neighborhood through the catch basins. That eliminated a substantial amount of flooding in that area. In addition, when we brought the flood wall across on Martin Street this particular storm, in the early morning hours, we then took action to put a temporary berm on Beaver Street on the other side, which has really prevented that whole area from getting any flooding. Certainly there's some flooding that's taken place in people's basements, but if the councilors that have been out there and people in the city that have been out there can see that, where last year we had several feet of water in a number of those streets. In fact, this year we have no standing water in any of those streets really at this point in time. So really did a great job of handling the problems out there, and I think it will certainly hold. It certainly underscores, too, the need for us to work with the Army Corps of Engineers, which we've had communications with them. We've had communications with FEMA about doing something that's more permanent in that location, a wall similar to that which we have on Martin Street. So we're going to be working with Lieutenant Governor, who is good enough to come out here at the invitation of the mayor, Congressman Meehan's office, as well as the state delegation to address those issues on a more permanent basis. But I can't say enough about the work that our public safety officials did. Our public works people have been out there all night pumping, bringing loads of fill in, building up those berms, putting in that temporary berm, temporary blockade. And all of the people that worked in the Emergency Operations Center, in particular Assistant Manager T.J. McCarthy, really did an outstanding job of keeping everything coordinated and under control. We've had flooding in other areas out in the Camelot Court area, out by the Brunswick Bowling Alley. Townsend Street is all flooded as the tributaries back up. They can't get into the Merrimack River, so we do have a couple of feet in a number of locations out there. But again, it's mostly basement flooding. We do have some problems at the condominium, the Renaissance condominiums, which once again the river has risen up and flooded out that basement, as well as the parking area. All of those people have had to move out of that complex. So and we're having some problems down the Davison Street lot area off East Merrimack. But again, and that's an area that's of particular concern to us right now, because the Concord isn't going to crest for another 2 days, based upon the projections we're receiving. But all in all, given where the water is and given the experience that we had last year, I think the city's in very good shape, and we just have to stay on top of it. And I'm confident that with the people in place, we'll be able to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Council Caulfield?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just briefly, I don't want to be redundant and express my feelings that the manager has, but last evening I was over there and into the early hours of the morning, and I saw just some great leadership. Absolutely tremendous, great leadership from T.J. McCarthy, Chief DeRosiers, the police department. But as you pointed out, Mr. Manager, the public works employees, above and beyond, and just tirelessly worked and helped people with sandbags, and it was almost like it was their home. And it's just a horrific experience last year, and to go through it again this year. And the Army Corps of Engineers, the federal government, must come to the plate and address this issue. And the berm that the city put there saved that neighborhood. It actually saved that entire neighborhood. The Townsend, Melrose, Malden Avenue, the bowling alleys, we couldn't control the entire Merrimack River. That's an impossibility. But the city, once again, pulled up the bootstraps and created a miracle. And that's what they did on Rosemont Street. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Rita Mercier?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I will be redundant because I think it's warranted to say what we all have to say about our city workers. They did a tremendous job. It's unbelievable. Last May, when we had that devastation in our own backyard, we learned that, well, this happens every 100 years, and I thought to myself, well, if it don't happen for another 100 years, that's a good thing. But 11 months later, it's not acceptable, and we are doing something about it. So all the talk that we've gone and talked the talk would actually walk in the walk, because I was there last night in the neighborhood, asked people, what's going on? How's your basement? Is it flooded? No, it's going down the drain. It's doing okay. And then overnight, just like that, it just crested, and it was unbelievable. But everyone in the city, you, Mr. Manager, deserve a lot of credit with T.J. McCarthy. Let me tell you, I was there this evening for an hour after I get out of work, and I know that people regular citizens like, and I will mention the name because I know that John Dowling had his equipment over there and his driver over there with his backhoe just building up that berm wall to keep the water out for no cost to the city, just because he loves this city. And I have to mention it. People, when we have tragedy, come together in the city, and I was so pleased to see that they're pumping that water out so fast that it isn't going in people's basement, that we don't need safe harbor there pumping out oil barrels that spilt over. That, I will never forget it. So I'm very, very proud of all the work that's taken place here. I'm proud to be a part of this city when I see what's going on here, that people step up to the plate. Many years ago, you thought, here's a city worker with a shovel and he's leaning over it. I want everybody to go there today and see what's going on there with a shovel, but they're shoveling dirt to form a barrier. I'm just so proud of everybody, and I just had to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Elliott?
I also was down in that area, and it seems, you know, if the Army Corps of Engineers would see what the city did this time, it would be sort of a no-brainer that, you know, that they construct those barriers similar to the other side of the river on Martin Street. I know that they want to do more studies, but you know, it was a very good solution, and it saved that neighborhood from Lafayette to you know, even New York Street, Lafayette, Alma, Rosemont, all the way down there. That just seems like we should have done it, and we should do it. And you know, hopefully they'll put this through a quick process to give us the permit to do that, because who would have thought it would have happened again? And this would just give some safety and security to the people that are down there, because they can't believe it. I don't think anyone in the city can believe it. And I know this is just one section, but it seems like such a rather simple solution. So, and the city workers did do a very fine job. I know TJ has been up since 11 a.m. and with all due respect, TJ, you look it.
You do.
Thank you. Councilor Donahue?
Thank you. That was 11 a.m. yesterday, right? I think, Mr. Manager, you should give him a break and let him skip the council
There's
meeting.
been the
I
bid
offered
yet.
that to him.
Yeah.
He just wouldn't stay away.
But as usual, TJ has done an outstanding job. And I just wanted to chime in. I did get a call from a resident today who had nothing but praises to sing about the city and the job the city did and the innovative work in terms of installing the berm, you know, in that area, and how effective it was. And that, you know, as terrible as it is when this happens again, it was heartening to see the city out there and acting, you know, in a proactive way with this flood. And it seems that maybe we've learned some things from last year to this year. The only thing I can say is the Army Corps of Engineers, a little less talk and a little more action would be, you know, welcomed, because if the city, you know, using some ingenuity had, you know, come up with some solutions that were helpful, I think they, in a year's time or 11 months' time, could come up with a solution that it seems people of common sense have a pretty good idea what that solution is. And so, you know, less studies and more, you know, action would be welcomed.
Councilor Caulfield?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I neglected to recognize a citizen who lives in that neighborhood, who I call him the mother hen. He overlooks everyone, and he deserves some recognition. It's Paul Belay. He was on the phone all weekend, and he was there till the early parts of the morning. And TJ knows very well, and he's a great guy. And Mr. Mayor, I hope we recognize him for his
He sure is.
contributions.
Sure is. He's done a great job for himself and his neighbors. Okay. I believe that concludes that item. We have minutes of the April 10th meeting for acceptance. Motion approved by Councilor Caulfield, second by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The minutes are approved. We'll move straight to the public hearings. We have one unfinished from last week, petition by Verizon to install 10 feet of conduit in Smith Street. Just please identify yourself, name and address for our records, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the record, my name is Joseph Gleason. I'm a right-of-way agent with Verizon New England, Inc. Our office is located at 28 Diana Lane in Dracut. The petition before the council this evening is a request from Verizon to place approximately 10 feet of conduit from existing pole 116 over 13, located on the easterly side of Smith Street. We're going to go from that existing pole 10 feet through the taking into a new townhouse development known as Smithfield Crossing. I think that construction is pretty well much underway out there, so this is going to be servicing those new townhouses. And that's it.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the conduit on Smith Street? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. This matter is to be referred to the wire inspector for report and recommendation. So moved by Councilor Caulfield, second by Councilor Elliott. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The matter is referred to the wire inspector. Thank you. Next public hearing is an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, with respect to Chapter 13 thereof, entitled Motor Vehicles and Traffic. This is the quarterly traffic ordinance. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. A motion to approve by Councilor Broderick, second by Councilor Elliott. Roll call.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Armand Mercy? Councilor Rita Mercy?
Yes.
Councilor Milonato?
Yes.
Councilor Ramirez?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Councilor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
Okay, the next item is an order of taking, to take by eminent domain and accept Dean Drive. Anybody wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition to this order? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. You vote on this? This matter gets held for 1 week in the clerk's office. It'll come back on the agenda for vote next week. Okay, next on the agenda, city manager's portion of the agenda. There are several communications in response to council motions and requests. Any questions or comments on any of those items? No. Hearing that, motion to approve the communications and place on file by Councilor Rita Mercia, second by Councilor Ramirez. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Communications are placed on file. Next item is a communication from the Planning Board. This is concerning an ordinance. Let me just. Yep. I'm sorry. Okay, this is an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, with respect to Appendix A thereof, entitled Lowell Zoning, by extending the existing Artist Overlay District to include number 150, number 200, and number 250 Western Avenue. This matter gets referred to a public hearing on May 8th. So moved by Councilor Elliott, second by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The matter is referred to a public hearing on May 8th. We also have an ordinance creating a position of solid waste inspector and establishing the salary therefore, and the Department of Public Works. Motion to waive the first full reading by Councilor Broderick, second by Councilor Milonato. All those in favor of waiving the first full reading say aye. Any opposed? The first full reading is waived. This matter also is to be referred to a public hearing, this one on May 1st. Motion to refer to a public hearing on May 1st by Councilor Ramirez, second by Councilor Milonato. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The matter is referred to a public hearing on May 1st. Next item is a vote authorizing the city manager on behalf of the City of Lowell to enter a lease agreement with Arthur J. Fanaras, trustee of C&F Realty Trust of 18 Mount Joy Drive, Tewksbury, Mass., for property located at 118 University Avenue, Lowell. This motion to waive the first full reading by Councilor Ramirez, seconded by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor of waiving the full reading say aye. Any opposed? First full reading is waived. Second reading by title. A vote authorizing the city manager on behalf of the City of Lowell to enter a lease agreement with Arthur J. Fanaras as trustee of a C&F Realty Trust, 18 Mount Joy Drive, Tewksbury, for property located at 118 University Avenue, Lowell. What's the wish of the council? Councilor Donahue.
Thank you. This precinct is in the same location, is that right, that it currently is? And I certainly support, the substations, and this, I think, is a good location right near the university. Can you tell us, Mr. Manager, are these, the monies for this coming from the local budget? Is there any grant money or community policing money that we may expect, let's even say from the governor in the next budget, or?
We are anticipating that the legislature will be providing, going back to providing us community policing money, whereas the governor's initial budget did not. I believe these monies will be coming out of the local budget, though, at this time. However, with the possibility of the community policing money, we would be able to access those in its place.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Further questions? Okay. Roll call?
Counselor Elliott,
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Armin Mercia, Counselor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Ramirez.
Yes.
Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Caulfield. Counselor Donahue.
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
8 yeas, the vote's approved. Next item is a vote authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to accept a gift from the Lowell Youth Soccer Association of $5,000 for use by the Parks and Recreation Department. Motion to waive the first full reading by Councilor Broderick, second by Councilor Elliott. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The first full reading is waived. Second reading by title. A vote authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to accept a gift from the Lowell Youth Soccer Association of $5,000 for use by the Parks and Recreation Department.
Was referred to.
Questions? Okay. Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Armin Mercia, Counselor Rita Mercia, Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Ramirez.
Yes.
Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Caulfield.
Yes.
Counselor Donahue.
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
8 yeas, the vote is approved. Next item is a appropriation transfer in order to meet fixed charges and current expenses for the city of Lowell for the year 2006-2007. It is ordered by the City Council of Lowell as follows: that the amount of $4,900 is hereby appropriated to assessors, appraisals, and in order to provide for such appropriation, the above amount is transferred for said purpose from the manager's contingency account to provide funds needed to supplement the assessor's appraisal line item so that they can hire a firm to do power plant facility appraisals. The Department of Revenue requires these outside appraisals because local assessors generally do not have the specific industry-related experience that they demand. Order recommended and introduced by Bernard F. Lynch, City Manager. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the city manager, Mr. Manager, is this an annual expense that we'd be looking at, or is there, certain training that our assessors should get to? I mean, I guess we don't have a lot of power plants in the city, so I'm curious if we have to spend $5,000 every year to do an appraisal.
Right, I'll refer this to the CFO, Mr. Moses.
The budget actually does have $5,000 in it to do appraisals. This is an unusual year in that a couple of the power plants have indicated that they're not producing energy, and the pilot agreements are no longer in effect. In our discussions with the Department of Revenue, the first thing they suggested that we do is obtain appraisals for those power plants. We do not do that every year.
How many do we have? How many?
There are 3 in question.
I mean, that includes, I'm presuming the hydroelectric, is that what we're referring to?
That's one of the, if you recall, that's the one where we had the pilot agreement that was extended for 1 year.
Right.
In order to allow us to move forward with having this work done as well as try to do some negotiations. That's ongoing. We also have the Lenagia, which has indicated that they are no longer producing electricity, and they'd like to remove themselves from the pilot program and reduce their taxes by a substantial amount. And then we have one other power plant as well.
Okay, but there are 3, so once we appraise them, are we going to assess them? Is that what the plan is?
That's the plan to do
The
that.
payment in lieu of taxes, the pilot will go away, and we will start assessing them, whatever their property valuation is, and be taxed accordingly.
Okay. Well, there are a couple action items we have to do. One is, in the cases where they've indicated that they're no longer producing electricity, we need some documentation proving that in fact is the case. In those cases like Boot Hydro, where they are producing electricity, we know that. We're doing the appraisal, and that will give us the option of going with negotiating a pilot. Puts us in a position of strength in doing those negotiations, or would allow us to do a full assessment of their value based on the appraisal.
So is this a one-time assessment that we're looking, appraisal fee, excuse me?
I think it's possible that it may come up from time to time, but we do not anticipate this will be an annual cost.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Milonazo?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the city manager. In my opinion, an appraiser doing this type of work would really be in a specialized field. Do we have a list of appraisers that we're going to be picking from, or will the assessors have a list that we'll be actually choosing from?
Yes, we've been working with the Department of Revenue on that, as well as communicating with other communities that have hydro plants or power plants in their community.
And will one appraisal suffice, or do we have to get two for each power plant? Again, I don't think $4,900 would be enough if we had to get, say, 6 appraisals, but...
No, I would think we're just having one would,
okay.
would
Thank
be
you.
adequate.
Further questions? Roll call.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia? Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
Councilor Ramirez?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Councilor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
8 yeas, the transfer is approved. Subcommittee reports. Councilor Caulfield.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. The council meeting on Tuesday, March 27th, the council referred a petition from Attorney James Flood to the Neighborhood Traffic Subcommittee. The subcommittee convened a meeting last Wednesday evening at 5 o'clock, and in attendance was Councilor Rita Mercia. Councilor Kevin Broderick could not make it because of a prior commitment. The subcommittee studied the petition, and in attendance was Ann Barton from DPD and Mr. Gomes, traffic engineer. And it was indicated that the Department of Planning and Development and the traffic engineer has endorsed this petition. And the petition is, the developer would like to develop 193 rental housing units and also build a parking garage for the residents. But in order to do so, it would be more inviting if, I believe, the Suffolk Street, make a position of Suffolk Street and Perkins Street one way. DPD has agreed to do that. They signed on it, and they said it's a good project. There are 2 gentlemen here representing the developing team, and also Attorney James Flood Jr. They have an artist rendition of what they're going to be building. If the council would like to see that, so let it be known. But the subcommittee recommended that this is a good project, and it would be very inviting to the city, advantageous to the city. It would certainly improve our tax base, and it would certainly address that old historic building and turning into something that's inviting.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a particular building formerly known as Hub Hosiery. I know many years ago you could go up there and buy many different colored socks. So if you wore a green sweatshirt, you could buy the socks to match. I mean, it was like unbelievable. I kind of missed the place, but it has been left in derelict condition. And when you look at the Spinners Stadium, LaLasha Park, and the Songus Arena, what's in between is like the link that we're doing one step at a time to get it to the beautification that we deserve in that particular area. This is such a project that's going to do that. So having heard from Attorney Flood, his son, and then Peter and Bob that represented, the attorneys representing it, and everyone involved in the project, they came to us with some a request for an easement to go into the building. That's what they're asking this council to approve of, and a particular portion westerly from Suffolk to Perkins, a portion of that one way. They are going to beautify this area with 193 units It's going to be tremendous, and I think that what we're going to see as compared to what's there now is quite an improvement. And if you want to step forward to the podium and have the camera people in the back there show that, that'd be great if you could put it right up there so that they could see that. And that's what they've been through before many boards.
Planning board.
They've been to the Board of Appeals, the Historic Board, the ZBA, the Planning Board. They've been to every board and have every permit and every request met. They're coming to us through the subcommittee to ask if they could have an easement to go into the particular building that is on a different level. They're going to improve the drainage and beautify that area. The second thing is to make a portion of that area one-way. So this is what you're going to see, and it's like night and day from what's there now. So the subcommittee reported a favorable recommendation, and that's what we're bringing before the council.
Okay. So the subcommittee report is to recommend granting the petition?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Manager, DPD, the Planning Department, have a view on this?
The Planning Department does agree with the making it one way, and also agrees with the granting of an easement so that they can do the necessary work in front of the building as well.
Okay. Any further questions or comments?
I just want to point out, Mr. Mayor, that there would be a problem with residents parking. They're going to build a parking garage for them, so that'd be very advantageous.
Okay. All right. So motion to adopt the recommendation of the subcommittee by Councilor Broderick, second by Councilor Rita Mercier.
Yes.
Any question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The recommendation of the subcommittee is adopted. My understanding, Attorney Flood, is that now this matter will be prepared for a formal vote and come back to the council for a formal vote.
That's correct. That's correct. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, there's a
Councilor Caulfield?
the second report to the subcommittee, a motion filed by Council Rita Mercier, co-sponsored by me, to address large vehicles parked on city streets. The law department is researching and doing a draft on this particular, amending the ordinance, and we will convene a meeting May 1st at 5:30 in the council chambers to address that. Is that the date we settled on, Christine? Was it May?
I don't see it. I don't see it. Keep talking, I'll find it.
We were allowing the law department to do some research, and we can have that meeting when it's convenient for.
I have May 29th at 5 o'clock.
May 29th?
Right,
Okay.
right. They asked for like a month
Okay, okay. May 29th
at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock in the council chambers.
Thank you. Further subcommittee reports? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to the petitions. The first petition is by Attorney James Flood on behalf of the Blazon family requesting a sewer easement for 133-143 Clark Road. Motion to refer this matter to the manager and law department for vote and proper, and for recommendation and proper vote by Councilor Milanazzo, second by Councilor Ramirez. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The matter is referred to the manager and the law department. The second petition from Kano Real Estate Development LLC requesting sewer tie-in and intermunicipal agreement at 410 Methuen Street. Motion to refer this matter to the manager for report and recommendation by Councilor Ramirez, second by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The matter is referred to the manager for report and recommendation. And a third petition from Decio Andrade, 42 Union Street, petition to address the council concerning neighborhood problems. Is Mr. Andrade present? Okay, if we could just get your, is it 42 Union Street? That's your address, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Good evening. I kind of feel like a fish out of the water since I've never been to a meeting like this except by watching on TV. Thing is, I purchased the house in 2000. When I bought the house, at the time, I did not know that that was one of the most critical points in the city for drugs, for prostitution, for all sort of things over there that if I knew before that I would never have bought it. But in 2000, with the support of the chief of police and Rita Mercia, we worked for about a year or two to get rid of the whole situation over there. And I was actually mentioning to her today that just like when you see in establishment or in factories on the lunch truck comes in and toot the horn so everybody gets out on break, that goes on over there on Thursday, Fridays, Saturdays, and holidays. I cannot keep tenants in my house because of vandalism, throwing things in the houses, trash throwing in the yard, needles that I constantly pick them up on the side over there, so kids don't grab them over there. For people shooting the needles, they get spot us at night, and they using the Santoto's parking lot over there to distribute drugs frequently. They had gone, that thing was a whole lot better, but lately for the last 7-8 months, the thing started over again. That's why I decided to take some of my time today, see if I could come up here and had some support from the city to get a little better surveillance. And also, I don't know if there's any legal way to do that, because the one that brings all these people over there should be the one in charge of cleaning all the mess that there is in there. We got the sewage system that I go over there myself, take that thing off and clean it up. Because to get the drains over there, every once in a while, I have to go over there and clean it myself. All kinds of trash and bags and everything else that goes in our cars, it goes in our houses, and my yard, and I try to keep the house neat. We also have problem on a neighbor that keeps letting a pit bull loose in the street. And I have intervened a couple times over there from that pit bull going after people and children going on the street there. So that's the reason why I say, well, if nobody steps forward, I might as well just do it. And I would love it, see if I can have the city give them support on that thing and get something done in that regard there. I've done my part in the past. I have surveillance cameras on my house in there. I have spotlights. I have motion lights in there. But I guess by myself I can't do it.
Thank you, Mr. Andre.
Thank you.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really didn't realize that this problem was happening again until I saw this petition, and I just want people to realize that, you know, this is a city where we need help from a higher power, namely the police department. I don't think that a man and his family should single-handedly, you know, be taking people out, so to speak. But this is an area of Union and Linden Street where it's known to have drug activity there. It's not so much a particular house or whatever. I don't know what's drawing them there, but it's like, what he means is, it's like having a canteen truck come in and say, here we are, we're open for business. I think we need surveillance there. We did everything as a council many years ago in 2000 to get a street light there. Everything we're doing, I guess, evidently, it was all right for a while, but for the past 8 months has been resurfacing again with prostitutes, and what he sees at night, you would never want to see on a X-rated channel, and it shouldn't be that people are coming forward to this city when wonderful things are happening and saying that they wish that they didn't buy a house. I really don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that someone has to sleep with earplugs in his ears like he told me he was doing. Many things are happening, so there's many issues there. There's the dog officer. We have to get that pit bull off of the street running around loose, terrorizing neighbors' dogs. We have to get police there in unmarked vehicles. I don't know, they get boom boxes coming in at night as if to say, here's the music, where's the drugs? Not in this city, not in any neighborhood. And I certainly feel bad for this gentleman to feel like he's done everything he could, putting spotlights and surveillance cameras. I think we need to work with him, Mr. Manager. I know that when you have your meeting tomorrow, we need to tell Superintendent Ken LaValle that we need something to happen over there. We don't want this to happen in our city.
Thank you. Councilor Milanazzo?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say to the manager and to this gentleman that the neighborhood, the Back Central Street neighborhood is actually meeting this Thursday. So if you can, after you have your department head meeting, to make sure that Ken LaValle and the precinct sergeant go to the meeting. It's at St. Anthony's Church at 7 o'clock on Thursday the 19th. So again, these issues obviously should be brought up at that meeting.
Thank you. Councilor Caulfield and
Okay.
then the manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At the last Public Safety Subcommittee meeting we had, Chief LaValle indicated that drugs is a serious issue in this community. And I'd like to refer this to the Public Safety Subcommittee, where Chairperson Eileen Donohue, and that the subcommittee can address this with Chief LaValle and his staff. And no one should have to live under these conditions. A man's home is his castle. His peace and tranquility should be intact, and no one should come into this city and run a business that's absolutely criminal and causing harm to many, many, many people, including Mr. Andrews' family. So I'd like to refer it to the Public Safety Subcommittee and discuss it at length,
Yeah.
not only this problem on Union Street, but other problems in the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll second that motion to
Okay.
go to the Public Safety Subcommittee.
Okay, Mr. Manager?
Mr. Mayor, I just in response to the councilors and Mr. Andrade, I will take this up with the police chief tomorrow, and we will have representation. The police department has been doing a great job of getting out to all of the neighborhood organizations to their monthly meetings, so I know that there will be people there in attendance. We are certainly familiar with a number of the issues that are happening in the back central area, and we're trying to deploy as many people as we can out there to do the necessary surveillance and enforcement. But clearly, there's like other areas of the city as well, we have particular pockets that we need to focus those energies in, and that general area, based upon what you've provided tonight, will serve as a basis for acting in that way. So.
Okay, motion to refer this matter to the Public Safety Subcommittee and to the City Manager for recommendation by Councilor Caulfield, second by Councilor Rita Mercier. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The matter is so referred. We have one claim for property damage. Motion to refer to the Law Department by Councilor Milanazzo, second by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The matter is referred to the Law Department. Under the motions, the first motion this evening is by Councilor Rita Mercier. The City Council requests the City Manager have the Law Department draw the proper vote to dedicate a portion of the island on Washington Parkway in honor and in memory of Rosemary Eliopoulos.
Second.
Second by Councilor Caulfield. Councilor Rita Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am honored to present this motion on behalf of the Eliopoulos family and to just say a little bit about her. Rosemary C. Eliopoulos was a devoted wife, mother, sister, and friend who cared deeply about her community. She gave and devoted her time cooking and cleaning for the women's shelter in Lowell, the Lowell House of Hope. She also volunteered at the shelter, serving many meals, collecting clothes, and offering up her Thanksgiving holidays to serve meals to the homeless. Rosemary was an integral part of the Women's Philanthropos Society at the Transfiguration of Our Savior Church. She served as a Sunday school teacher, begged for various shelters, and always offered a kind shoulder for people to talk to. Rosemary also volunteered her services as a substitute teacher for the Lowell school system. She spent many of her young and adult life serving and organizing many charitable auctions, golf classics, benefiting the greater Lowell community. She made several anonymous donations to school activities, to parks, charitable organizations to enhance the greater Lowell community. I applaud Rosemary's service and dedication to our city, and I hope that this motion in some way thanks her for her many years of kindness. There is already a space available at the Washington Parkway Island, so there is not a need for any lighting or landscaping or any other amenities, and there would be no cost here if this is approved. I'd like to refer this to you, Mr. Manager. Thank you.
Anything further? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed? Motion's approved. Next motion by Councilor Rita Mercier. City Council requests the City Manager have the traffic engineer install no parking here to corner sign on Lawrence Street at Moore Street. Second by Councilor Broderick. Councilor Rita Mercier.
And I failed to say that two of the Eliopoulos daughters were here this evening, too. Thank you. Thank you. On this particular motion here, it speaks for itself, but if you're going up Moore Street heading to Lawrence Street, and you take a left, there's always some vehicle there, and there were many near accidents, and I've heard recently from people, a person that almost got clipped was the former director of the Council on Aging, Arthur Amalo, and I don't want to hear that he got hurt, but he almost did, and so I think we have an ordinance anyways that say no parking here to corner, and it's 20 feet, but if there's no sign there, people are going to tend to park there. That is very dangerous. I frequent that area myself, so if we could just get a sign and refer this to the traffic engineer, get a sign like 20 feet away so that you have a clear view around the corner. We're trying to make this city safe one little bit at a time. So this is it for today. Thank you.
Thank you. I had 40 years being chased off that corner, Council. So it's a little safer now than it was before. Council Broderick? Oh, okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed? The motion is approved. Next motion by Councilor Elliott. City Council requests the city manager have the Board of Assessors report on the status of the annual revaluation. Councilor Elliott. I'm sorry, second by Councilor Milonazo. Councilor Elliott.
Well, the motion speaks for itself, Mr. Manager. Can you tell me where we are at with the revaluation? And, of course, we're going into the budget season, and I'm sure you're aware of that. But I've had a number of people ask me, where we were at and what the valuation is. And I've heard that there might be an increase in the commercial and a reduction on the residential, and if that's the case, what does that do to my tax bill ultimately? Is it going to go down? So all of these questions, I'm curious myself where we are at, and again, we're only in April, but coming up to, how is that going to factor into, I would like to know how is it going to factor into our budget and what impact that's going to have on residents and taxpayers.
Mr. Manager?
Certainly, anecdotally, it would appear that the residential values will not go up this year and may even have a small decrease, but that's just anecdotally. Right now, the assessors and the firm we contract with is doing field work, and I'm hopeful that we'll have that some preliminary information in time to have some idea of the impact by the time the City Council votes on the budget. But that's somewhat optimistic. We are in a revaluation, a major revaluation year, so that has some impact. But I will get you a more formal report for a subsequent council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed? The motion's approved. Next motion by Councilor Elliott. City Council requests the city manager report on the consultant broker fees for health insurance. Second by Councilor Ramirez. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we look to try to address our double-digit health insurance costs, I did read with great interest in the City and Town this month. I don't know if you've seen it, Mr. Manager, but one of the items that they suggest to communities to pay strict attention is either brokerage or consultant fees. Do we pay, I'll presume we don't pay brokerage fees because we're not paying a commission, but consultant fees, do we pay consultant fees, and how much are they? And I don't know if you've seen this or not, but I guess the concern is we pay a consultant fee, but then does that consultant get broker fees on the other end, and how do we find out? And how much are those broker fees? Is that something that we can look to try to reduce the cost on, or?
Mr. Manager?
We've been utilizing, the city's been utilizing, in my opinion, one of the better health insurance consultant groups out there, and that's a cooking company. I've had familiarity with them in a number of communities that they've done work, and we pay them $35,000 a year. And they help us place our reinsurance, but they most importantly do our claims monitoring for us to ensure that we are in fact getting the full reimbursement due to us from the reinsurance, as well as from Blue Cross Blue Shield in terms of administering the health insurance contract. In addition to that, they provide us with just general health insurance consulting with regards to the design of our program and working with our insurance advisory committee on a roughly a monthly basis. So it's $35 based upon the total health insurance budget that the city has. It's certainly $35,000 well spent.
Well spent. Okay, and those are the only fees that are associated with our health program. Everything else is just claims and I mean, actually premiums in and
That-
straight claims out.
That's correct.
Are
I mean,
we-
we paid administrative fee to Blue Cross Blue Shield for actually paying out the claims.
How much do we pay them
I think it's like 7.5%
of the
of
total,
the total.
total claims?
Right.
Is that something we negotiate or contract, or is that just a straight fee they
Again,
charge us?
Cook and Company helps us with some of those negotiations and some of the working on those numbers with us. But it's a fairly standard rate that they charge.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anything further? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed? The motion's approved. Next motion by Councilor Elliott. City Council requests the city manager have the traffic division place no parking signs on Edward Street. Second by Councilor Broderick. Councilor Elliott.
The motion speaks for itself, just for traffic flow. I know there's an awful lot of cars that go in and out on Edward Street, soccer on Saturday, and they're parking up on both sides of the road. So the residents, the residents are getting a little upset, and plus it's a traffic hazard. So, thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed? The motion is approved. Next motion by Councilor Caulfield. City Council requests the city manager have the proper department address the sidewalk conditions at 52 Merrill Avenue. Second by Councilor Milonazo. Councilor Caulfield.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The resident that resides at that address is concerned about the welfare and safety of people walking. It's a huge gully and a dip, Mr. Manager, and residents very fearful someone's going to get seriously injured, so appreciate if you could look at it.
All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed? The motion's approved. Next motion by Councilor Caulfield. City Council requests the city manager have the proper department clean the debris litter from the entryways and exitways to the Lowell connector. Second by Councilor Rita Mercia. Councilor Caulfield.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If one utilizes the Lowell connector on a daily basis, they will see that it's totally neglected, and either Mass Highway or the Sheriff's Department or someone come in, the entrance ramps, getting onto the connector, the entrance ramp at Plain Street and the exit ramp, it's not a good sign. This is Lowell, Mass. It sends out a bad message, and I think it's just an oversight. No one really bothers to clean it. So I wish someone would address that. Thank you.
Mr. Manager.
Council, we will, I'll get you a more formal report on this, but I do know that we've been discussing this with regards to some of our efforts to do more to promote the city, to improve the entranceways
Right.
into the inn. And I know that certainly the very end of the connector is one area that we have some plans for doing some work out there to beautify that area. But certainly we can look to utilize, the sheriff's people, prisoners, to go out and do some work and look at some other opportunities for volunteer efforts to do some cleanup work out there.
It just sends the wrong message coming into the city. It's like, oh my God. So I'm sick of looking at it, and so on a lot of other people. Thank you.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I received an email as well. I got it today indicating the same thing about the entrances and exits to the connector. And yes, I will bring this to work tomorrow. We could probably get our community service crew out there and pay their debt back to society. And they're doing a great job, really they are. So we'll make them aware of this too. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed? The motion's approved. The last motion is mine. Any objection from reading it from here? It's for request the city manager initiate the process to see if the intersection at Market, Suffolk, Hanover Street meets the warrants for a four-way stop sign. Second by Councilor Milonazo. Mr. Manager, this was a constituent request that came in through some students. And I'm well aware we got a memo recently about only certain intersections meeting the requirements for a four-way stop. But if we could have somebody look at this intersection, there seems to be a fair amount of accident activity there. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion's approved. Councilor Donahue,
Yes,
on this
thank
matter?
you. Not on this matter.
Councilor Donahue.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would ask for a suspension of the rules to discuss very briefly issue concerning the tennis courts at Shed Park. no one has any objection if that's seconded. Mr. Manager, I got this call from a young man on Friday night, too late to get this on the agenda, but who was very concerned, and I thought it was important that I address this, and I did speak to you about it. His concern is that the city's leasing out tennis courts this summer at Shed Park to a private for-profit entity. And certainly, you know, we applaud every revenue-producing effort that the administration's exploring. But his concern was that it would prevent residents from using the tennis courts for free. He, in particular, is involved with helping and volunteering for teaching tennis for the Boys and Girls Club. And also, I think it's important for our own Parks and Rec programs. And so, in our discussion, you explained to me that it's not going to be every tennis court. And maybe if you can explain what you told me and if we can get a report. I just want to make sure that people know that it's not every court that's being leased.
Mr. Manager?
The Recreation Department has worked with an outside party to come in and lease 3 of the 8 tennis courts at Shed Park. They approached us, but it was to see if there were tennis courts available. But what we were looking at is perhaps setting aside certain hours for use of those 3 tennis courts. It wouldn't be full leasing of those tennis courts for the entire summer. It would be for only certain hours on certain days of the week. In return, they would provide revenue to the city as we would renting any type of facility based upon our fee schedule. But in addition, we require that they provide free tennis lessons to the youth of the city and make it part of our overall recreation program. It's certainly not our intention to block off, and that was a concern that we had, that we wouldn't block off just the public's use of these public tennis courts. And we certainly wouldn't want to interfere with the ongoing efforts with the Boys and Girls Club for the use of the tennis courts for any lessons that they're doing. So I would suggest that this particular individual contact my office or contact Tom Bellegarde just to work out some of those details, because again, that's not our intention. Our intention is really to utilize this as a means to provide those recreation programs that the city can't provide on with the limited resources we have, and also, if we can, to bring in some additional revenue to the city.
And I appreciate that. I just want to make certain that we have our priorities straight. In other words, that, you know, programs like the Boys and Girls Club and so forth do take priority, and we make sure they have coverage. But I will have him contact you, and, you know, just so that we're not, you know, missing a link here in terms of, you know, they wouldn't want to find out this summer that they were blocked out of the courts. So.
Right. And again, I want to stress, Council, that and all the entire City Council, that the goal here certainly wasn't one of just, you know, taking some quick money from an outside party. It was really designed more to be part of an overall recreation program. We're looking at this on a number of, I think we're talking to a soccer provider, a lacrosse provider, different people that would set up programs, provide a no-cost or low-cost option for the youth of the city. Because we simply just don't have the resources to do it ourselves. But we certainly don't want to block off public use of these facilities.
Okay. I believe that concludes the agenda. Motion to adjourn by Councilor Milanazzo, second by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The meeting stands adjourned.
It was a good idea. No problem, George. Thank you.